right? Cool. Now let's move on to the one most important topic uh, in terms of software field. Okay, in terms of software field, this is the important topic. In terms of SDET, not so important, as I told. Good to have, right? So what are design patterns? So design patterns are similar to a set of instructions explain how to use various code components to solve a problem. That means it is nothing but a set of instructions which, if we follow while writing code or designing framework, then it would be easy for us to manage it and work on the same thing again and again or repeatedly with smooth, right? So basically, what do we mean by that? Instead of having to figure out how to solve the problem from scratch each time, you can use the same pattern to solve similar problems. For example, if we take a small example, assume you have a box of toys and you want to play with them in various ways. Sometimes you want to construct a tower, other times a bridge, and still other times a house. That means if you have some Lego kind of structures, and if you want to make different things out of that particular by using those structures, then what happens? Whenever you want to build something, you can use same toys in different ways to make it. If you want to build a tower, for example, you can use same blocks used to but arrange them differently. Similarly, design patterns are instructions for how to use various pieces of code to solve various problems. The same way you can use the same piece of toys in different ways to solve different problems. Okay, this is the theory part. Practically what happens, for example, we have a similar problem. A similar problem is, let I have a problem that I have created a class, right? And I want that class to not get instantiated multiple times in my framework. What do we mean by that? I want that only once my class should get instantiated during the entire execution of my suite. Because when multiple instances, multiple time the class will get instantiated, there will be a problem and there will be a memory issues also, right? That's why whenever you have a problem where you have to make sure that you have to only instantiate your class once, then we know the singleton pattern is the solution. Similarly, how you can create a tower structure from a specific, so the number of structure are same, but you can make a tower, you can make a bridge, you can make a house, right? Just by following a set of instruction. For tower, you can put it on top of each other, right? For a bridge, you can put it like horizontal, correct? Something like this, horizontal, vertical. If you put it horizontal or vertical, it will be a tower or it will be a bridge, something like that, right? Same way we have those design patterns, which basically how to structure your code, so that you can solve a common problem. For example, if whenever you have a problem where you have to restrict your class to get instantiated only once, then definitely you will go with singleton pattern, right? Similarly, there are a couple of more patterns. The most common ones are page object model pattern, singleton pattern, factory pattern, builder pattern, and decorator pattern. Okay, page object model pattern you can see mostly in the UI, right? Web UI, mobile automation, UI automation, right? For UI slash mobile automation testing, it involves creating a separate class for each page. You must have seen during your UI automation, right? For each page you can create a class and then map it with the test class. So in short, mapping of page class with test class, correct? In singleton design pattern, it involves creating a single instance of a class that can be used throughout the application, right? This can be useful in mobile, UI, API, every automation you can use it. Mobile, UI, API automation testing for managing resources such as database or network connection, something like that, right? In fact, we can implement it for our utility class, software session utility class. We have created a utility class, right? Software sessions. So that class also we can make it singleton, so that only in the framework it can be instantiated once, right? So it can be only instantiated once, and it can be used with one instantiation throughout the framework, or else people will keep on creating different instance of software session utility in the test classes, right? For example, there are 4 test classes, they will instantiate it 4 times. You don't want to do that, right? If you want to just get it instantiated once, then you can convert your soft assertion util class into a singleton also. I will show you that example. Builder pattern is also a design pattern that involves creating an object piece by piece. This one I will show you with API. Okay, this is quite famous with API. Okay, this can be useful in mobile automation testing for creating complex objects such as test scenarios, test cases. Mobile API, this can also be used in anyone, a mobile API, UI, but most famous one is in the UI. In the API, we use builder pattern with request specification. I will show you that example. Okay. Builder pattern is nothing but you will create a builder class, right? You will create a builder class which you can use multiple times rather than using a same set of commands repeatedly. I will show you with an example. It will make more sense to you guys. Okay. Now, decorator is a structural design pattern that lets you attach new behaviors to objects by placing these objects inside. This is nothing but like writing a wrapper objects, right? The decorator is mostly on the wrapper part. Composite and decorator have composite also a design pattern, and decorator you don't have to much worried about composite. Composite and decorator have structure diagrams that are similar because both use recursive composition to organize an infinite number of objects. Layman terms, just understand that decorator pattern is mostly like wrapper objects that contains the behaviors. Wherever there is a wrapper object comes into picture to manage a huge amount of objects. So there will be a wrapper object which contain multiple objects inside it, in short. Okay. So for example, you have 100 objects, right? You will create 10 objects. In each objects you will keep 10 objects. So it will be like, instead of having 100 objects, you will have 10 objects. Each object will contain another 10 object. So kind of a wrapper, right? We don't use it much in automation. We don't use it at all, decorator. Okay. When you will use it, maybe if you are in a path where you are moving from SDE to SDE, then only you may need this one, or else you don't need decorator. Okay, because we don't have a requirement where we have 100 objects, right? Which is quite not possible to have 100 objects kind of thing in automation. So not that important. Why I am saying but still why I am explaining this one, it will give you a upper hand in interviews. Okay, if you are going for a big organization, just use those terms. Okay, just explain them that I know about decorator. I haven't used it, but I know that we can use it in this way, something like that. Okay, it would add value. But still, I would prefer, if they ask you in interview what are the patterns you know about, then you can say POM, singleton, and builder. Factory decorator, you don't have to mention of your own unless they ask you. Okay, remember this one. Whenever you are going for interview, if they ask patterns, 3 patterns you should say: POM, singleton, builder. POM you have seen in UI, singleton also you have seen, but I will show you one singleton pattern example, one builder pattern example to explain, right? Because whenever you say I know, then you have to show them an example, right? Or else how they will not get convinced.